Hey, how's it going? Well, on my last video we talked about how to get your chop saw all sweetened up to make good, safe, and accurate cuts. But the thought occurred to me that cutting larger pieces of wood is fairly straightforward on the chop saw. But if you have tiny pieces of trim or little bits of dowel or tiny little banding pieces, these are a lot more difficult to safely cut on the chop saw and to accurately cut. So I thought, well, let's make a little miniature sled together. It's pretty easy, and that'll help with all of your tiny cuts on the chop saw. So let's get started. Well, let's get started with a piece of scrap plywood I have here. It's about close to 5 inches by 13 inches, and I think that'll be perfect for what we need to do. First thing, I'm going to just true these edges on the table saw. All right, we got 2 nice straight edges. Next thing I'm going to do is rip off about 1.5 inch strip. All right. Okay, so now you see we have this piece, and we've made ourselves a little fence for the back. But I want to do one other thing. I'm going to put this on here. We're going to mark it flush here on the back so that it's even on the back. Another way of doing that is just stacking it down on the table saw. And we're going to give a little mark on here. And we're going to cut just a tiny groove here on the table saw. Because we'll be cutting really small things on the chop saw, any little bit of sawdust is a problem. So I'm going to just slice a small groove in this that will make a little bit of an escape hatch for some of the sawdust that we might encounter. So let's do a couple things. I'm going to set the dimension up for the cut, and then I'm going to set the blade height down. Want to cut an ever so slightly small groove in the wood. There's our small groove. This piece will sit on here, and when we brush or sweep this off, this tiny little groove will make an escape hatch for some of the sawdust. Okay, well, we're almost done. A couple of more things. Next, I'm going to take this little scrap of oak, about that length, and let's rip a small slice out of this on the table saw. So now we need to cut this off at exactly 12 inches. I have my stop block set here at 12. And if I do that way, every time I use my little sled, I'll set that up at 12 inches, and that end of it will always be right at the cut on the blade. We attached our fence to this baseboard. We made sure that there was not a screw in here where we would catch it with the chop saw. Now that this is cut to length, let's take that small little oak scrap. We'll place it near the end. We'll drill a small pilot hole here. And we'll attach it with a screw. Before I do that, let's make this hole on our piece of oak a little bit larger. So now if I need a tiny 2-inch piece of this dowel, it's trapped in with our piece of oak. I know this is exactly where our cut will be. I can put my mark here, and it will hold this and it will capture the small piece so it doesn't fly all over the place. So let's go ahead and make our cut. Now you have a nice little jig that you can safely and accurately cut tiny things on your chop saw. So thanks for watching. See you next time.